On her side, the golden-scaled snake burst into tears and squealed, "Master, that stinking monkey called me a little loach, and told me to roll in the muddy pond to show him. Help me scold him. I want to hit him now, just let me do it." Feng Jiuxiu sniffed and took a look at the little monkey lazily nestled in Mu Yunlan's arms, and immediately felt a pang of tiredness. Why, there is a feeling of powerlessness with a baby. Thanks for the support. End of chapter. Chapter 30, Feng Jiuxiu, and you say you're not tailing me? Begging for tailing. Chapter 30, Feng Jiuxiu, and you say you're not tailing me? Begging for tailing. Chapter 30, Feng Jiuxiu, and you say you're not tailing me? Begging for tailing. Without waiting for Feng Jiuxiu to say anything, Mu Yunlan, however, had already snorted coldly and twisted her head to pull Yen Jiro towards the city. The guards of the two men behind them rushed to follow. Seeing this, Feng Jiuxiu hurriedly pacified the golden-scaled snake. "We can't do anything now, good boy, now that little monkey has help, just to piss you off on purpose. Once we do fight, though, I'm sure you can beat the little monkey, but its helpers are all 5th-rank spirit beasts, and I'll be heartbroken when you get hurt. You're going to turn into a noble true dragon. Let's not talk to a wild monkey, okay?" Hearing these words, the gold-scaled snake's aggrieved little heart was comforted. It said condescendingly, "Yeah, I could have had to transform into a true dragon. It's just a stinking monkey. I don't even bother with him. Nice guy, and you didn't bother to talk to him. If I hadn't stopped you, you'd have gone straight to him and fought him." Feng Jiuxiu muttered inwardly and hurriedly received the golden-scaled snake into the spirit beast pouch and walked into the city. Lu Zhang could be big or small, so he could be carried into the city. However, large spirit pets are not allowed to be brought in directly. The golden-scaled snake was now 10 meters long without changing its body, and it needed to be packed into a spirit beast bag to be able to do so. Putting away his spirit pet, Feng Jiuxiu didn't dare to continue delaying any longer. Doing the math, there were about 2 more hours before that thing would show up, and it had to be snatched away at the first opportunity. Soon, the time came 1.5 hours later. The southwest corner of Chang'e City, Meta Turing Mines. At this point, people were packed around the huge booth. The crowd stared at the sorcerers in the 10 mining spirit formations. Their expressions were both nervous and excited at the same time. Sorcerer, a type of stone produced around spirit crystals. In the beginning, people used it only as a building material to build houses that blocked the aura. Later, someone shattered a large chunk of sorcerer, only to discover that it contained a broken spirit weapon. It's like discovering a new continent. Word spreads quickly, then the crowd followed suit and finally settled on one fact. The huge sorcerer contained all sorts of things that could release aura. For example, spiritual soldiers, spiritual pills, bones of spiritual beasts, or some other treasures. And so a new industry arose: open source mining. Buying a piece of sorcerer at a low price and opening up a treasure is earning nothing, just a lost bet. The price of each piece of sorcerer was not low, or at least not something that ordinary people could afford to play with. The ones selling source minerals don't even charge gold or silver, only spirit crystals. Without spirit crystals, none of them were qualified to enter. And at this moment, Mu Yunlan was betting on a piece of sorcerer with the 7th miss of the Empty family of Chang'e City, Empty Lingyun, and the 2nd miss of the Yen family of Returning Goose City, Yen Jiro. The goal of Feng Jiuxiu and Mu Yunlan coming over this time was one of the source mines. It was on this day that someone had opened an extraordinary item from among the source mines. A drop of true dragon's blood coalesced into a blood jade. At first, the man only thought it was a blood-colored spirit crystal and sold it to a person. That person accidentally dropped it on the ground after getting the blood jade. The blood jade shattered, and the aura of true dragon's blood was exposed. It was then directly swallowed by another person's spirit beast, and that spirit beast's quality leapt into the divine level, becoming a low-grade dragon blood spirit beast. True dragons, those were creatures above the emperor realm. No one in this world had ever seen a real dragon again, only the changed appearance of a dragon-blooded creature. Even the demonic dragon that Mak Yunlan used the golden-scaled snake to evolve out of in the previous life. It was also actually just a term of endearment, and not a true pure-blooded magic dragon. A drop of true dragon's blood, even after an unknown number of years, had very little energy left. What it contains is also extremely powerful. There was no doubt that this was something that could evolve the essence of life for the golden-scaled snake. Feng Jiuxiu had to fight for it, and to Mu Yunlan, the energy contained in this thing was enough to greatly increase the little monkey's spiritual cultivation. She was also bound to get it. Feng Jiuxiu, you still say you're not tailing me? Mu Yunlan angrily scolded Feng Jiuxiu, who had just walked in with a confused look on his face. Her voice drew quite a few people's attention to her. Almost everyone here is on edge due to the gambler's mentality. A number of people shivered in fear at her shout. I was just about to loudly reprimand what kind of unqualified guy was making a noise here, but after seeing Empyrean Spirit Cloud, everyone closed their mouths. In Yunzhou, these big families of the 12 cities were the sky, regardless of which main city's jurisdiction they survived under. The children of these big families had to memorize as much as they could. Offending any of them could lead to the destruction of one's family. Empty Lingyun was the most favored seventh young lady of the Empty family, the city lord's residence of Chang'e City, and there was no one here who didn't know her. Naturally, she dared not complain to her friend. Oh, is this the pervert you said was tailing you, Yun Lan? Empty Lingyun's sweet little mouth like a cherry, but the words that came out made Feng Zhouxiao feel incomparably vicious. Feng Zhouxiao's fists were clenched and his teeth gritted. This devilish demoness, every place she goes, spreads rumors about herself and discredits her image. It's really, really hateful. I'm not a pervert, Feng Zhouxiao said angrily. Mak Yunlan immediately said in a cold voice, how do you prove you're not? Spotting you from the city gates, and spotting you here as well. You're clearly trailing me. You can't say that you came all the way from Spirit Ruin City to this Chang'e City just to open source mines, right? Feng Zhouxiao hurriedly said, right, that's what I'm here for. Open source mining, can't I? She thought that Mu Yunlan would continue to press, but she didn't expect the latter to suddenly laugh. Sure thing, you drive, and when you're done, go. Feng Zhouxiao froze when she heard this. Of course she couldn't leave. Immediately, he said in a cold voice, why should I leave if you tell me to? At this moment, the Empyrean cloud beside Mak Yunlan spoke up. Just by the fact that this is my house, I told you to go. Can you go now? Feng Zhouxiao watched as another unruly young lady popped up, and immediately felt his fists harden. Really don't blame the little blonde. Sometimes she was a little out of control. Really wanna hit someone. While she was having some difficulty on how to break the situation, Mu Yunlan was the one who spoke again. Just keep her here. What if she runs out first, finds a place to crouch, and then tails me? Before we leave this time, have someone keep an eye on her and see if she'll tail me again. Since Mu Yunlan had spoken, Empyrean Cloud naturally wouldn't say anything and continued to pick sorcerers with Yanjiro. And when Feng Zhouxiao saw the strange gazes cast by the people around him, she felt her face burning hot. It really is. She was an empress. How had she ever been so humiliated? Being watched as if she were a pervert and a clown. If she wasn't mentally strong enough, she wouldn't have been able to hold back her outburst or just run away. I have to hold back. True dragon's blood. I must get my hands on it. Feng Zhouxiao did some inner construction and directly ignored the gazes of the bystanders. His eyes were dead set on those mining spirit formations, as if he wanted to see through what was inside. It was a pity that her real pupil wasn't able to do perspective. This source mine, on the other hand, was isolated from aura and could not be perceived. Everything can only wait until the stone is cracked to find out what's inside. Suddenly, a flash of blood. That's it. Thanks for the support. End of chapter. Chapter 31. Chapter 31I. Feng Zhouxiao will live a second life. Requesting for follow-up reading. Chapter 31. Chapter 31I. Feng Zhouxiao will live a second life. Requesting for follow-up reading. Chapter 31I. Feng Zhouxiao will live a second life. Requesting for follow-up reading. It was a source mine bought by a bald middle-aged man. At this time, it had just been opened by the mining spirit formation. A flash of bright red light. With Feng Zhouxiao's pupil of truth innate ability, he could tell at a glance the majestic energy contained within. There's no mistaking it. She suppressed her inner joy to appear normal. That illiterate buyer sighed and spoke out. Does anyone want to buy this blood spirit crystal? You can take it for 10 spirit crystals. I'll take it. Feng Zhouxiao took out 10 spirit crystals and said. With that, she walked towards the true dragon's blood. It was at this time that a person was in front of her. I'll offer 11 spirit crystals. Sell it to me, Makunaga said with a smile. When Feng Zhouxiao saw that the true dragon's blood that was about to arrive was cut off by Mu Yunlan, he immediately said in a deep voice, Mu Yunlan, if you're just trying to go against me, there's no need to go through this wasteful way of wasting spirit crystals. It's just a blood spirit crystal. You can't double your bid for whatever I buy, can you? Mak Yunlan said with a light laugh. I didn't double it either. Whoever made you tail me today made me very upset. No matter what you buy today and how many spirit crystals you offer, I'll buy it for 1 more spirit crystal than you offer. If you don't have the money, get the hell back to Spirit Market City. You! Feng Zhouxiao was furious and could only shout the price again. 20 spirit crystals, 21 spirit crystals, 100 spirit crystals, 101 spirit crystals. As he watched the two bidding, the face of the man who felt he had lost money just now became more and more agitated. He had spent 15 spirit crystals to purchase this piece of sorcerer, and after opening the blood spirit crystals, he had thought that selling 10 pieces would be very good, but I didn't realize there was a windfall. Just when he thought he might be taking advantage of the opportunity to make a big profit, Empyrean Cloud spoke up. 102 spirit crystals. I'll take this blood spirit crystal and give it to you, Yun Lan. To the children of a large family like them, hundreds or thousands of spirit crystals were nothing at all. Being able to make good friends with Mak Yun Lan made the money well spent, and after she opened her mouth, that seller immediately didn't dare to ask for anything more and said decisively, "Okay, deal. In this Chang'e city, he mustn't dare to offend Empty Spirit Cloud, otherwise not only will he not be able to earn any money, but his own life and family may be directly hitched to it. To see something you value so much just taken away from you." Feng Joshua was instantly born with boundless anger. However, she didn't dare to do anything to Empyrean Cloud here. The current her wasn't an Emperor Realm Imperial Beastmaster, she was just a tiny third-rank Imperial Beastmaster. If she really made a move, there was no need for the Empty family to send additional support. Just the guards here would be enough to suppress her. She couldn't help but give Mu Yunlan a vicious look, but even so, she didn't have strong emotions like killing intent in her heart towards Mu Yunlan. In her perception, Mu Yunlan was merely targeting herself on a daily basis. It was not a deliberate attempt to rob himself of his chance. If she let her know, Mak Yunlan was doing it on purpose. Odds are, well, it won't be much. After all, she was a righteous empress. As long as the other person is not yet an enemy in the true sense of the word, it is still mainly persuasion, and does not directly pronounce a death sentence just because someone has offended him or her. Mu Yunlan received the true dragon's blood and gave Empyrean Spirit Cloud a big hug. "Sister, you're so sweet." Looking at them with a look of sisterly love, Lu Zhang, who was caught between the 4 peaks, could not help but roll his eyes. "If I didn't know that you guys were planning to use each other from the start, I'll really believe it." Feng Joshio looked at the true dragon's blood in Mu Yunlan's hand, his mind racing as he sought a way to break the situation. "I need that blood spirit crystal, Mu Yunlan. I can pass on a secret technique to you in exchange for that blood spirit crystal." Hearing Feng Joshio's words, Mu Yunlan's heart also thought quickly. The greatest function of this true dragon's blood was to stimulate the true dragon's bloodline, and just using it to enhance spiritual cultivation was honestly a bit of a waste. If it was an ordinary spirit pet, it would be possible to use this true dragon's blood to turn it into a dragon blood spirit beast. However, one's own 6-eared macaque was obviously also an extremely powerful divine pet, and its bloodline level wouldn't even be lower than that of a true dragon. Then this true dragon's blood might even cause bloodline contamination to the 6-eared macaque. Having overlooked this point before, now that she saw how persistent Feng Joshua was, Mu Yunlan thought of this crucial point. Unable to help himself, he frowned. If what arrives doesn't directly enhance strength, it's useless to take it over. However, if he were to exchange with Feng Joshua, a mere secret technique, and being equally strong at the Emperor realm, Mu Yunlan didn't care to learn Feng Joshua's things. Well, in exchange for one other thing? You're nothing more than a parasite of the Mu family. What secret techniques can you have? Mak Yunlan first mocked, paused for a moment, and then continued. "It's not impossible for you to want to exchange this item, but I want that lamp you used last time in the middle of the secret realm." Feng Joshua's eyes instantly widened when he heard this, and he blurted out, "It's impossible, absolutely impossible." Mak Yunlan twisted his head and walked away. "Then there's no talk. Ling Yun, Zoe, let's go." Feng Joshua subconsciously wanted to block, but he didn't know what to say. The Rui golden body lamp was one of the relies on which she had been invincible in her previous pre-life. Now giving such a treasure in person to the witch who had killed her in her last life, she was very resistant in her heart. For a while, it was difficult to make a decision. Instead, Mu Yunlan was incomparably certain in her heart that Feng Joshua would definitely choose to exchange. The effect of true dragon's blood was that it could give the divine favor itself a direct evolutionary enhancement, which was something that could not be found. Although the Rui golden body lamp was also very precious, after all, there were restrictions on its use. Mu Yunlan was waiting for Feng Joshua to come to the door on his own. Didn't have to wait long. Feng Joshua figured it out after half an hour. The Rui golden body lamp was something she had relied on in her last life, and in her last life, she had failed. Following the course of her last life, she still couldn't defeat the evil demon. Return